Nurse.org and Major League Sports teams are honoring nurses with discounted game tickets and once-in-a-lifetime experiences. From throwing the first pitch to riding the Zamboni to on-court recognition, join the fun. Visit nurse.org/nurse night to find a nurse appreciation event near you and grab your discounted tickets today.
The Love and Leary podcast is where nursing leadership, innovation, and real talk come together. Hosted by nurse leaders Marion Leary
and Rebecca Love.
The show dives into the issues that matter most to today's nursing community.
Each episode features candid conversations, expert insights, and bold perspectives on healthcare, leadership, advocacy, and the future of nursing. Whether you're a clinical nurse, nurse leader, or another healthcare changemaker, Love and Leary offers thoughtful dialogue and practical takeaways to inform, inspire, and empower nurses at every stage of our careers.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Love and Leary podcast. I am so excited about this episode because we have on today Danae Petit, who is a rising senior nursing student at the University of Pittsburgh and a senior columnist at the Pitt News, and was my daughter's roommate last year in college. So I am really excited to be talking with you about your experience in nursing and the articles that you write for the Pitt News. So welcome to the podcast, Danae.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So tell us a little bit about what brought you into nursing and what your experience has been so far, and then we'll dive deep.
Okay, so when I was finally trying to figure out like what I wanted to do and like what I wanted to go to college for, it was actually like during COVID, and I was doing all my high school stuff online from my house because we weren't going to school, obviously, because COVID was still happening, so still super big, like on the news and stuff. And at that time, I thought I would want to go to like med school and be a doctor. But then I heavily realized that maybe that was not something I wanted to do at all. I didn't really like the idea of going to school for that long. And also I didn't really love the idea of not having a lot of patient interaction, really. Like, I know we all go to the doctors. We see the doctor, like, I don't know, for 5 minutes. I didn't love that. So then that slowly led me into the path of becoming a nurse. And so far, I've loved every single step of it. I love Pitt. I love Pitt's nursing program. I love my clinicals. I love seeing my patients all the time. Like, I just love everything about it so far.
I think we love hearing that, Danae, because honestly, the truth is that we're hearing very different stories from the front lines of nurses. And what I think both Marion and I are super excited about having you on is you've been not only a nursing student that is out there engaging every day in nursing school, but you've actually taken to the power of the pen to start writing about these stories and expressing that. So can you tell us a little bit, how did you get into this space? Like, what made you decide that you had a voice and you were going to use it and start writing it for the Pitt down in your area?
So I joined the Pitt News my freshman year. I joined in September, actually, so I'd only been at school for maybe a month. And the first reason that I actually joined is because, like, in all my nursing classes, I was like, I'm not really writing as much as I used to in high school, which is something that I really did enjoy. And I was like, I loved having that type of creative outlet. So that led me to the Pitt News, specifically the opinions desk. I love the opinions desk. It gives me the freedom to write basically about anything that I want to write about, which I love. And then my very first column specifically about nursing was in the beginning of my sophomore year. After my freshman year, I had a very hard experience transitioning from high school to my freshman year. And I just decided to write about it. And my editors at the time seemed to really enjoy it and said that a lot of my nursing columns were very good. So I decided to just write more of them. And I really do love writing them. It's very easy for me to obviously write about all my experiences that I do in clinical or just in class. So I just love to write about it.
So I was reading your article. I read all of them, but about the things you learned your first year of nursing school.
Yeah.
And you could really feel through your article how you were feeling going through it. And I loved you wrote that it was a rude awakening that first year. Can you talk a little bit about what your expectations were going into nursing school versus what the actuality of it was? Because, I mean, you're not the only one to experience that. And I think it's really good for others to hear from students about what the actual experience is.
So in high school, I was definitely a student. Like, I didn't really have to study in order to like do super well on exams or tests. And I could like easily like look at material maybe like a day or maybe even like an hour or two before and do perfectly fine on everything. And then I get to college and that's not how anything was. I like didn't know how to study. I didn't know what I was doing, actually. I didn't know how to manage my time correctly, and I just felt like I was going in there completely blind. And I was also like so anxious to like go to my professors or go to my TAs to ask for literally any help. And I think my like hyper independence really was my downfall my first semester, because I just thought I had to do everything by myself, and I actually could not do everything by myself. And it really put like a damper on like my self-confidence too. I was like, I'm not good at any of these nursing classes. Like maybe nursing isn't for me. And I was actually like really doubting my ability to become a nurse. And it was like really scary and really sad for me at the time. I was like, what am I supposed to do if I can't do this? But
do you think it was the nursing curriculum specific, or do you think that's just the transition into college? Because I've heard, and I think it was in your article, that nursing is one of the hardest degree programs for undergrads. And as you said in your article, people were like warning you of like, it's going to be a lot. So what's your sense of that?
I definitely do think it was a mix of both. I do think the classes that I was taking my first year were hard. I'd never taken a class like anatomy before. That class was like torturous for me. It was so different from anything I had ever taken before. So I think it's a mix of the fact that these classes are super new and super challenging for me, but also the fact that I'm a freshman. I've never had to like really lock down and study. I think during high school, like my high school teachers would like really coddle us and be able to like slow down material if no one was getting it. But then in college, it's like you kind of just have to do what you got to do. Like at this point, like everyone's treating you like you're an adult. Like you're not a kid. I think that's also something I had to get used to, like being able to try to figure out things on my own a little more, but also still knowing to figure out, okay, when do I have to go and find help and actually get the help that I need to succeed?
I love this, Danae, because the truth is you're saying exactly what it is. We get into nursing school, we come out of high school, it totally throws everyone for a loop. It's a different level of studying. As you said in your post, the reality is it is ranked as one of the most difficult professions to actually get through, and it actually teaches you very different. And so when you went out there and voiced this, what was the reaction publicly? Like, what did your fellow nursing students say? What have you heard in the years since that post? Because you've clearly kept publishing. You're going into being a senior. You've been at this now for 3 years. But how did that reaction like sort of stimulate you to keep going forward and talking more about everything that you were witnessing?
For me, it's always really surprising when people actually like read my stuff and like decide to email me and be like, oh, I read your article and it was really nice. I always still get super surprised when anyone does do that. But I mean, a few of my fellow nursing students also read it and were like, this is so true. Like during freshman year, it was just like a scary time, I think, for a lot of us, a very nerve-wracking time. And it's so comforting to know that so many people actually did feel the exact same way. And I wasn't the only person feeling like I was like drowning, actually. So that was very comforting to know.
Great point. Like when you put yourself out there and you share certain aspects of yourself in writing or on social media or however, like it is nice to know that you're not the only one. because that can be very comforting, as you said.
Yeah.
And, your most recent article about nursing, you wrote what it means to be a Black nurse. And, I read that and really it felt so honest. And I wonder, did you get similar feedback for that as well?
I did. I actually got an email from one of the staff who works at the School of Nursing. I can't remember her name right now, but she was like, I've read your article and I just want you to know that, like, I don't think we've ever crossed paths before, but just know that you also have so many people in this school that, like, support you from afar, even if we've never even had a conversation or talked to each other face to face, or you've only seen like an email or two from me. Just knowing that you have a bunch of support from people that you may not really know is also something that's really comforting to me. Like, to know that so many people do want to see me succeed.
Danae, could you talk about that moment? Because you have a really beautiful moment where you sort of start in your article about you being a nursing student in this hospital, and you were standing, I think, in the cafeteria. And can you sort of take us back to that moment and why this stood out to you as such a defining attribute in your own journey, and what it meant of being Black in nursing, but not only Black in nursing, what it meant to be Black in society and healthcare, and, the movement of an entire generation of individuals into roles. And now, hope, it felt to me like this moment of recognition and hope for a different future. Can you take us back to that moment and what happened and express it?
Yeah, of course. So I was leaving one of my clinicals and I stopped to get food at one of like our on-campus food places. And one of the guys who works there, I actually see him all the time. When I get food, he's usually working. He usually says hi to me, whatever. And that day I was in my scrubs, so I was very like recognizable because my scrubs are bright blue. And so I just walked up there. I said, "Oh, I have an order for blah, 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 my name." And he asked me like, "Oh, are you in nursing school?" I said, "Yes, I am." He asked me how many years I have left. I say, "Oh, this is my junior year. I'm going to start my senior year in August next year." And he just basically just wished me good luck and said that and wanted me to have a good rest of my semester. And I just thought that, I don't know, I just thought it was a really sweet gesture. I mean, he like couldn't have said anything to me. He could have decided to just keep quiet and not recognize me at all. But I thought the fact that he just decided to go out of his way was just something really sweet. And, in the weeks coming, I had just found myself thinking about it a lot, which is why I decided to write about it, obviously. And I think while writing it, I realized that that little small moment meant a lot more to me than I had actually realized maybe when it first happened.
Hey nurses, looking for exclusive discounts? Nurse.org has you covered with deals on everything. Save big on the essentials you need to excel in your career. Don't miss out. Visit nurse.org/discounts for the latest discounts made just for you.
Yeah, I mean, and in that article, you write that there's, we learn a lot in nursing school and in lecture halls, but there are some things that you don't get taught. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but like that seems to be, or it's at least I'll speak for myself. That is why I think it's so good that nurses, nursing students of all backgrounds and, sexual preference and race and whatnot, and even gender, like male nurses, like having more people with diverse viewpoints writing about or speaking about their experiences in nursing is so important, because it's not something that often gets covered in nursing school, and you can't understand somebody's lived experience unless they share it with you, and there's that empathy and understanding.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. I think school does like a really good job at trying to teach us like certain things. I think they do a really good job at doing, but obviously there are only things that you can learn from real lived experiences that sometimes we might not even get until we graduate and decide to get a job wherever we decide to work. So,
Danielle, I wanted to pull up part of your statement that really stuck really strongly with me. And it starts with, Whether I realize it or not, there are always people watching, hoping, and believing me simply because of what I represent. I represent every Black woman who stood before me and every Black woman who will come after me. I represent progress and possibilities in spaces that haven't always been welcoming to us. I represent a sense of an unspoken solidarity. And Nani, I think there are these moments in our careers and in our lives where we can often feel alone and that we're navigating uncharted waters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Marion and I have always felt deeply connected, both to the history and to the future of our profession, for the shoulders of the people we've stood on before, and in hopes that others are going to stand on our shoulders going forward. And I think what you stated so eloquently there is what many of us forget, that we're actually very rarely alone in our journeys. That
Mm-hmm.
the moment in time in the history of where we exist today is because of many miracles that we even exist at all, and of the paths that we choose. And I just wanted you to know that you write with such eloquence in a way to capture complex ideas that we need more voices like yours in our profession, because the way you took what is really a very divisive topic today, a very almost negative repertoire of both being Black, being a woman, and being in a careers and pursuing things today in today's world, you brought it back to a humanistic element that I think just was so eloquent and beautiful, that we just are just blown away by the talent that you're bringing to this. And so just wanted to tell you that you have to keep going. Because in moments when you don't think you have a voice or nobody's reading, all of a sudden it's emailed and sent to people like Marion, and that changes narratives and people feel it. You start with a ripple and it goes forward. But I just wanted to say that was incredibly beautiful and powerful.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's really important too, because Black students make up only about 11% of undergrad nursing students. So, we want to see more representation in nursing. If we're going to treat all people, we need all people in the profession, because you want to be able to see yourself in the people who are caring for you. And so for you to put that out there, hopefully that will encourage others to go into the profession as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, just speaking from my own experiences at Pitt is a, predominantly white university. The same thing with like the nursing program. I think I could probably count how many Black students there are with my hands. I think like we all know each other because, I don't know, we just kind of stand out almost in a way. But I mean, there's not a whole lot of us, but I think all of us are just so intelligent and so committed to the profession and just like wanting to make it better. And I just think that's so incredible.
I couldn't agree more. So I know your other article was about you finally finding your niche in nursing. Can you talk a little bit about what is inspiring you in the nursing profession, what you think you want to do after nursing school?
Yes, of course. So in September, I started my clinicals in UPMC McGee, which is the women's hospital in Pittsburgh. And that was for my labor and delivery, mother baby, antepartum, postpartum clinical. And I like absolutely fell in love with it. Our very first day on the labor and delivery floor, I was able to see a C-section, which I think was the coolest thing I have ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah, that's for you. If you think that's the coolest thing you've ever seen, you have found your calling.
I don't know what it was about it. I just absolutely loved it. And I think me specifically during that clinical, I was able to see so much. I was able to see another C-section with twins. And I was one of the only people in my clinical group to see a live birth as well, which I also thought was the coolest thing I've ever seen. So but I don't know what it was about it. I just thought, it's like, this is so interesting to see, like, people, like, give birth to just, like, a whole nother life was just, I can't even describe it. Like,
crazy.
It's just the craziest thing that I've ever seen. And I also think the professor that I had, she was so incredible. And genuinely, every single time I had her class, I was looking forward to being there, which I feel like is something so rare for me, because sometimes the professors can be not as interesting and don't necessarily interest me in the same way, but I looked forward to going to that class every single week. And I miss that class a lot, to be honest.
Well, that's amazing.
What you're saying is these moments hit you in those times. And honestly, I do think that labor and delivery floors, it is one of the places where sheer joy comes after incredible moments of intensity in ways that it is very precarious. But in that moment, you witness something that few people in life ever are going to witness, especially being able to be privy as a guest in that space. So super excited to see that you have found your niche where you'd like to go. Labor and delivery is going to be certainly welcome to have you. And honestly, we need so many different people with backgrounds coming into this space. So this is fantastic. And what does the next year look like for you, Danae? You're going into your senior year. Tell us what this looks like.
So I'm going to be starting my transitional clinicals in the fall semester. So I haven't gotten a placement for that yet, but I am very hopeful that my placement will be at McGee on the labor and delivery floor, which is, I'm like crossing my fingers. If not there, I would hope to be on one of their mother baby floors instead. So that's for the fall semester. In the spring, I have my community clinicals and another med-surg clinical, and also getting ready for my NCLEX is something else that's, I guess, coming up really soon, actually.
Right, you'll blink and it'll be there.
I'm so excited.
Are you going to continue your writing career?
Post-grad, I have no idea where this is going to go, actually. Me and my dad actually had a conversation about this not too long ago. He said, have you ever thought of ever doing this professionally? Because he said, your writing is really good and you are really talented. And I just kind of thought, oh, well, because you're my dad, you think that, like, of course you think my stuff is good. But I did put a little thought into it. Thank you. I would hate to just give up my writing completely cold turkey, but at the same time, I have no idea where I would want it to go.
Well,
so
it doesn't have to be either or. It doesn't have to be nursing or writing. You know, like I started off with, I love seeing nurses use their different voices and platforms to be able to promote the work that they do, promote the profession, or promote something completely different. Like, there are so many ways to be a nurse and also use like Rebecca said, the power of the pen to keep up with your writing. So, you know, happy to talk you through all of the different ways whenever you want. Sorry, Rebecca, I didn't mean to cut
I would love that.
No, Danae, I think this is Marion and I feel very strongly. I think your dad's spot on. I think that to be a healthcare journalist, more nurses who write about the actual intricacies of nursing. Much of our profession has remained hidden across history. It has not been documented. It has not been written about. And the truth is we need it to be. We need it to be captured, because when it is no longer written about, it goes and it is forgotten. So Danae, I think, you know, there are places and times that you're put on this earth and given an opportunity that open that. And I think, you know, Marion and I are saying go for it, because the truth is there is an absence of these voices. And the truth is you have a skill that we have not seen at this level of writing. And we see a lot of nurse writing. We see a lot of it. And the truth is nurses, obvious, are very usually academic in their deliveries, or very focused on research. But very few can actually story tell that actually resonates and expresses emotion. And that is a skill set that you have. And the truth is that we need those kind of stories getting out there. So to Marion's point, it does not have to be one or the other, but the truth is the future that you're going to be able to articulate what's really going on in the most contentious period of time in healthcare, to amplify what your nurses on the front lines are witnessing and experience, what your patients are seeing, and translating that into a narrative that most others could not do. And because there was not anyone to translate that narrative externally in a way that is withstood, nurses often lose in those spaces. And this is your opportunity to help nurses start to change that. So we're excited to see where you go.
Thank you guys so much. You guys are so sweet.
All right. Well, Danae, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. I am so sad that you and Harper aren't roommates again for this upcoming year, but I am sure that you guys are still friends, so I will be able to follow your nursing journey. And,
I'm sure.
Rebecca and I are here to help in any way, and, please continue all the great work that you're doing, because nursing and the profession of nursing needs it.
Thank you. It was so lovely to talk to you guys and talk about all my cool stuff, so thank you.
Well, hey, Danae, we can't wait to see where you go, and we can't wait to get this article out for the rest of the world, and this podcast out for the rest of the world to see you and start following you. And one day, recognize to say we knew her when. So thank you for spending time with us on the Love and Larry podcast. Marion, I'll turn it over to you to say goodbye.
Right. Yep, we are out. Thank you so much, and look forward to our next episode. Thanks for listening to the Love and Leary podcast. We hope this conversation sparked new ideas, challenged your thinking, and reminded you of the power nurses have to lead change.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it. You can find more episodes and join the conversation wherever you do your podcast listening.